On today's episode of Simply Cooking with Supabarn, we'll be making a spring lamb bowl. This dish is really reminiscent of all the beauty that is spring. We've got gorgeous lamb from Junie, which is pasture raised. We also have in-season asparagus, broad beans, snap peas and snow peas to add to the mix. First thing we need to do is to cook our lamb fillets, so we're going to season them and then lightly sear them on both sides, just making sure that they stay lovely and pink in the middle so that we get maximum flavour and we don't lose any of the lovely juices. All we need to do to season the lamb fillets is just salt and pepper. Do exactly the same on the other side. And now we will put some olive oil into our fry pan. What we're looking for at the moment is just a lovely little ripple in the olive oil, just to tell us that the oil is hot enough to form that beautiful crust on both sides. We should get a crackle sound as it hits the hot oil. Voila. So after you've cooked it for a couple of minutes on each side, just have a little look to make sure that you've got a beautiful brown colour on it. So this lamb is ready. Pop it on a plate to rest while we prepare the rest of the recipe. This is a broad bean. When they're this large, you can't really use the whole bean. However, the pods within it are beautiful to use in your spring cooking. Gently peel the bean open and they will simply pop out. The rest of the bean, if you've got compost, pop it in your compost, or if you've got chooks, throw it to the chooks, they'll just love it. Now what we need to do is to prepare the rest of the broad bean pod. We've got this outer layer. It is a little bit tough, so it's best if we take it out before popping it into our spring salad bowl. To do that, we will fill a pot with not too much water and then pop it on until it's boiling. Drop the pods into the boiling water for 1 or 2 minutes. It is important that the water is absolutely boiling at the time that you put the pods in. If you were to let the water boil along with the pods, they would overcook. It's time to grab another bowl and fill it with some cold water. Pop the cooked pods into the cold water to quickly cool down enough so that we can actually slip them out of their cover. Just give it a little shake, drain the water. So now all you do, you just pinch the cover and they'll just pop out. This is a great part for the kids to get involved, as many hands really do speed up the process here. The broad beans have been potted, so now it's time to get on to the other vegetables. What we need to do is to quickly blanch the peas, so both lots of peas and the asparagus. Now what we'll do while we're waiting for the water to boil is just slice up the radishes. So this one looks really good, it's fine, you can see through it, it's perfect for the salad. The water's now boiling, so it's time to pop the peas into the boiling water and just blanch them for about a minute. Take them out and pop them into the cold water. Drain the water and they're ready. Of course, we've got the water back on the boil to cook our asparagus. To prepare the asparagus, all we have to do is trim the woody ends. 1 to 2 inches is always more than enough, especially when they're this large. You can use mini asparagus in this recipe as well, and if you do, you only trim off the tiniest amount at the end. Depending on how mushy you like your asparagus, you can have it blanching for 1 to 2 minutes. I prefer more than 1 minute because I do like my vegetables crunchy. However, if you do like it a little softer, feel free to leave it in for an extra 30 seconds to a minute. The dressing for this salad bowl, it's beautiful and fresh and really in line with the spring bowl that we're trying to create. So what goes into it is some olive oil, red wine vinegar, beautiful fresh herbs and 1 garlic clove. Let's do it. A good dollop of extra virgin olive oil. We need about 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. If you put a little bit more or a little bit less, it won't really matter, but 3 tablespoons is a good guide. So this is some lovely fresh oregano. Beautiful addition to a spring bowl. And the other herb, of course, is some fresh basil, which is really the quintessential spring summer herb. Gather them and just roll them up. It makes it just so much easier to slice through and stay together. It smells so good. Pop that in the bowl. Garlic, which is also coming into season now in spring. Grab your knife, flat side down, and give it a bit of a whack. It's best if you finely chop the garlic to make sure you don't get a big chunk of it when you eat your salad. We'll pop it in the dressing, add some salt, pepper, and it's good to go. So this is a really basic dressing that you can use on any salads. You can even just pop it on some bread or even have it as a dipping sauce for bread when you have guests over. It's almost like a really, really simple version of a chimichurri. To assemble the dish, I've just cooked some rice, which will form the base of our salad. Feel free to swap it up with quinoa or any other cooked carbohydrate, and it doesn't also matter what rice you use. It could be basmati or brown or white. I'll just slice the lamb finely now. It's so lovely and tender. And we'll just place the lamb around the edges of our salad. What we want to do is have a little bit of everything on the plate. The beauty of spring lamb is that it's at its peak. It is absolutely at its best in terms of its flavour. With a little bit of dressing just to get to the rice underneath and the broad beans. I always like to put the broad beans on last because they are quite small. They will get lost in the dish unless they're put on right at the very end. And there we have it, a beautiful spring lamb bowl using fresh in-season vegetables, spring lamb, and absolutely delicious.